Ladies and gentlemen, something very interesting was reported this evening. An American C-17 Globemaster landed in Rawalpindi. It's a big plane, it's a military transport aircraft. And an American plane landing at the Noor Khan base. The Noor Khan base, ladies and gentlemen, in Rawalpindi, which is the garrison town in Pakistan, which was bombed by India during Operation Sindoor. Its airstrip rendered inoperational. Recently, Pakistan claimed that it's back up and running, and an American military transport aircraft to be landing. It came from Kuwait, landed there. We don't know what was in the plane, the purpose, but it went back. Someone who's been tracking the flight path closely, Group Captain Augustine Vinod, a Kargil war veteran, fighter pilot, joining us on this open mic. Very interesting development. Let me just ask you, what is your reading of the situation? Group Captain.
Thank you for having me over. Two things stands out very clearly. First and foremost, C-17 is a very large transport aircraft. We also have C-17 operating out of Indian Air Force. And we use it for humanitarian purpose, like maintaining the forward air posts in the northern zones. So our purpose is different. But C-17 coming from US and stopping over at Kuwait, and from there taking off and landing at Noor Khan is something very interesting. And Noor Khan being the Air Mobility Command, it plays a very key role in air operations as far as Pakistan is concerned. And Noor Khan, otherwise called Chaklala, we used to call it Chaklala for a while. It was recently named as Noor Khan after their chief, is an historic base as well. In fact, one of our squadron, 5 Squadron Tuskers, which operates currently out of Ambala, Tuskers were formed at Noor Khan on 15th of October 1935. So this was when it unified India. So we have a lot of history that we share with that particular base. This was the base, like you correctly covered. We hit them hard and hit them within that 22 hours, and C-130 was seen burning there, and some more aircraft got burnt there. Some Pakistani personnel, including some officers, also perished in that attack that we did. Of course, we, like our Air Marshal said, we don't count the body back. So it is a very, very important base. Something very important has gone wrong there in our attack. Something very important probably got damaged in that attack. Therefore, the C-17 has been making rounds. And this one I've been following very closely. So the important aspect about this coming and landing over there raises a lot of eyebrow. So therefore, in times to come, if it comes out in the open source, we will come to know that what has come to Noor Khan, and very, very we need to watch it very closely. Given the fact that Trump is kind of, peeved that our closeness, not only our, even Russia's closeness with China, which I'm sure most of us know, that he has put it out in through social saying that best of luck for Russia and India becoming closer to the dark China or whatever. So with that all in the backdrop, Niranjan, it is very, very important situation that is unfolding as we see. Of course, Republic and us, open source, we will keep a track of what is going on.
Yeah. Now it's interesting. You spoke about the criticality of the airbase. It's of course a key base for the Pakistan Air Force, a key town for the Pakistan Army. It's also just a mile over from the headquarters of the Strategic Plans Division, which is responsible for Pakistan's nuclear arsenal, includes over 170 warheads. This is what open source information tells us. I remember speaking to you and a few other veterans in the past who told me very interestingly how in many bases in Pakistan, air bases specifically, there is an American presence, there is also a Chinese presence, right? Now, it's very interesting times to be living in. You said that, you mentioned Donald Trump's post where he said we lost India and Russia to China. And with this American plane landing there, it's very interesting, right? Now, what is the kind of relationship that Americans have shared with Pakistan vis-a-vis their critical air assets?
That's a very good question. I must give kudos to Pakistan the way they are finally balancing their good relationship with Trump, as well as with China. So this is probably the only country where both of them give their arsenal, but both of them are enemies. This kind of, this kind of concoction, you don't get to see it anywhere. But be that as it may, let's come back to this particular aspect of Move 74 C-17, which is coming in, which has come into Nurkhan. This Move 74, when I was tracking, the dotted line is where the flight radar shows probable path, which is over Iran. Of course, it is automated. It cannot be the case. But what is interesting is what these people have not realized is that the last bit where we have solidly tracked this particular aeroplane landing over Noor Khan is not based on Niranjan secondary surveillance radar or not based on some data coming out of the aeroplane. So it is based on something called some technology called MLAT, multilateration. So we have equipment. No, it's not something with which military possesses. We have equipment set up all over the length and breadth of the country, where with many other radio transmissions, including the radio telecommunication transmissions, we can make out which aeroplane is this. So MLAT is an exceptional technology used world over, and it is an open source hardware. Again, a lot of enthusiasts have put this particular equipment tracking the aeroplane. That is how we were able to track the last, about 50 to 100 odd miles of this aeroplane landing into Noor Khan. So somewhere C-17 people have probably made a serious error where this MLAT has been able to pick up. So they wanted to probably keep it a secret. They switched off their secondary surveillance radar somewhere over the ocean, thinking that we'll not be able to catch it. But that technology was good enough. Open source technology, by the way, Niranjan, was good enough to catch this last 50 to 100 miles of this aeroplane's movement coming into Noor Khan. Interesting times ahead. Couple of days down the road, probably by Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll come to know what is the intention of Americans in Noor Khan.
Yeah, my last question to you. Of course, our forces would have an eye on that plane. We have good enough satellites. We'll have eyes in the sky, knowing exactly what was in that plane, the payload / load. You want to hazard a guess in these interesting times what America would be delivering in Noor Khan?
I'm not hazarding a guess. I would probably stick my neck out to say that immediate requirement, Niranjan, for Pakistanis as well as for Americans is to bring those aeroplanes which were damaged in Noor Khan, which Chief mentioned, which Air Marshal Narmadeshwar Tiwari briefed us very eloquently. These aeroplanes need to be brought back online in the interest of Americans, firstly, and in the interest of Pakistanis. Why American? Because it is their reputation which is at stake, reputation of their aeroplanes which is at stake, and further sales of these particular aeroplanes which is at stake. So therefore, in that interest, US must be doling out all kinds of spare supports to bring these aeroplanes quickly back online. As Marshal Tiwari told us that a couple of F-16s, probably one or two large aeroplanes have been damaged in this attack in Noor Khan, apart from C-130, which got burnt off. I wouldn't, be surprised if same tail number aeroplanes are replaced to tell the world no fighters or no F-16s were lost. I wouldn't be surprised. Even that could be part of the load, and that is the load which is immediately required. Will they require something for other special locations that we attack, like the probable nuclear facility, quote unquote? That probably would come a little later, maybe a week, 10 days, a month, or 2 months down the road. That is not very, urgent on the agenda of Americans, is my take on the subject, Niranjan. Over
Okay,
to you.
my last question to you. Sorry, that was second last. I forgot to ask you one important question. What does Pakistan Air Force need right now? What does the Pakistan military need right now, post Operation Sindoor, in your assessment?
A very, very good question, Niranjan. And I would take a leaf from, again, Marshal Tiwari's last, closing statements. He said it very, very clearly, and I have also written about it. See, next time, enemy may not do the same thing as what he did the last time. So we need to be one step ahead of him, one step, preempting him. So what they would require right now, Niranjan, is something completely different from what they already have or already used. So what I would think is they are woefully short of C4ISR, they are woefully short of air-to-air refueler, and they are woefully short of missiles. If these three things come in, they will probably re-look at their tactics to work against India, especially their air defense tactics. So that, if I were the chief of Pakistan Air Force, that is what I would be looking at. And I'm more than certain the weapon schools at United States, as well as the combat commander school at Sargodha, will be looking at it very, very closely. Could be that stores, I don't know. It could be.
Okay, interesting. We'll keep an eye out and wait for more details. Hopefully speak again. Thank you, Group Captain Augustine Vinod, joining us on this breaking news story. Thank you very much. Good night.